This video covers the notes over arithmetic sequences. So remember in 16.3 we talked about a sequence is a list of numbers or objects in a special order. So an arithmetic sequence is a sequence of numbers such that the difference between the consecutive terms is constant. So difference can mean minus, difference can also mean a plus. So we are adding or subtracting things and that's our difference. That's why it's arithmetic today. So some vocab for you. A to the n, we say this a to the n, so it's like a little n, represents the nth term. So it's kind of like saying I want you to give me x. So a to the n means we have a term to an unknown. A to the 3 represents the third term in a sequence. So we're going to look at this example and come back and fill this in. So this little number down here is telling you what term. If it gives you an n, they want the nth term, meaning there is no specific term. And then D is your common difference between the terms. So we're going to look at example 1 and then come back and fill that in. So example 1 asks us to write the first 5 terms of the sequence with a first term of 11. So A to the 1 is 11. And they want the consecutive term to be 4 more than the previous. So we're going to add 4 to this to get 15. And then we add 4 more to get 19. Add 4 more to get 23. Add 4 more to get 27. So a 3 in this sequence, remember the little 3 means look for the third number. The third number is 19 in example 1. And then the common difference is what you do from term to term. So this difference is a plus 4. We're adding 4 to each term. So example 2, they want us to find the common difference in the sequence below. So you can try to figure this out yourself if you want. Or yesterday we made some columns and we said whatever is given to you is your y value, and then 13 is my first term, second term, third term, and fourth term. So what I can do is I can put this in stat edit. I will tell you today all the arithmetic sequences, because we know that they mean that there is a difference being added or subtracted. Those are going to be linear. So we're going to run StatCalc 4 to come up with our formula. So our formula is negative 3x plus 16. Now keep in mind, this is a to the 0, meaning a term that is not shown in this sequence. So the first term you see is a to the 1. Your formula is going to have a term that is not listed already. Okay? Now your common difference is going to be like your slope in a y equals mx plus b kind of situation. And then we can continue the sequence or plug into the formula to find a of 7. So if I plug this in, negative 3x plus 16, remember this is like a little number x, so I'm going to go to my table, and when x is 7, y is negative 5. So up here, your paper says formula. Your formula is d to the n plus AO, where d, your difference, is like your slope, and a to the 0 is like your y-intercept or your b value, your starting. So these should look very similar to stuff that you've done before with linear equations. So example 3, a sequence can be generated by taking a to the n minus 1 plus 5, where a to the 1 is 7. What are the first 4 terms? So we have a to the 1 is 7, and then a to the 2, they want us to take this term and add 5 to it. So I'm going to add 5 to get 12, add 5 to get 17, add 5 to get 22. So you're just adding 5 or whatever they give you here to the term before it. This part just means the term before. So a to the n minus 1 equals term before. Example 4, they want the recursive formula for the nth term of the sequence given below. Looks like a bunch of fancy words, but remember all you have to do is put it into a chart. So the first number I see is 8, the second is 8.5, the third number is 9, the fourth is 9.5, and the fifth is 10. So I'm going to say my x's go 1 to 5, my y's are 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, and 10. Plug this into stat and run StatCalc 4. So my formula is 0.5x plus 7.5. So remember, this is where I start, and this, in this case, is my difference, also like my slope. Example 5, they've asked me to find the 100th term in this sequence. Well, in order to find the 100th, I need to know the sequence. So my first term is 5, second term is 8, third is 11, fourth is 14, and fifth is 17. So most of these problems can be done using the exact same methods over and over. So I'm going to go StatCalc 4. Oops. And my formula is going to be 3n plus 2. So the 100th term, we're going to plug in 100, or put this in y equals. So 3 to the x plus 2. I don't really want to scroll in my table, so remember that you can do second table set and turn independent to ask. So when I type in 100, it tells me that this is 302. Example 6, they want the first 5 terms if a to the 1 is 2 and my difference is 7. So a to the 1 is 2 and my difference is a negative 7. So 2 minus 7 is, let's see, negative 5. Minus 7 is negative 12. Minus 7 is negative 19. And minus 7 is negative 26. Okay? So we're just using that difference in that first term to keep it going. Now remember, if you wanted to, you could do a to the 0. So a to the 0, I'd have to work backwards and figure out that we started at negative 3 to do negative 3 in, negative 7 in minus 3. But you have to figure out where you start in order to plug it into the calculator. So you can do that, just keep in mind you have to know where you start first. And then example 7, they've given us 2 things here. So write the rule for the given function, the given equation. So this example 7, I don't know what a to the 0 is, but I got a to the 1 is 2. So they added 3 to get to 2, so I need to take away 3 to get back. And so I would figure out that my starting is at a negative 1. So my rule would be the difference times n plus a to the 0. So that's just a minus 1. Remember, a to the 1 is the first number you see, but it is not where you start. So you have to find a to the 0. That's why here we didn't really plug in the rule, because you have to go backwards before you can plug in the rule. But this one, in order to write the rule, I would have to go backwards. So if I'm looking at my first term of 2, I need to find out where I started. Wherever I started, they added 3 to get to 2, so I have to subtract 3 to get back to where they started. But things like example B are nicer because you take n and then your number and just plug into stat edit. So the other thing you could do on example A as we're typing these in is you could take and find another term. So rather than finding a to the 0 to write this, you could find a2 and add 3 and then go plug it into stat edit and it will tell you the rule. But in order to do stat edit, you need at least 2 terms. So I'm going to go StatCalc 4. And my rule is negative 3n plus 15. And it really doesn't matter if you take, oh, sorry, your paper says 2, not 12. I'm so sorry. Hold on, don't write this down. That's a 2. StatCalc 4. Okay, so like I was saying, it doesn't really matter if you remember to write n or you put x as long as you have your equations. So basically we're doing stat edit again today, but with arithmetic sequences instead.